The Chase by Beringer. Thoughts ran through my head quickly. Some of my thoughts didn't even finish. They just kept coming. One kept repeating though. Get out, get out, get out, it screamed. I ran from the flames that were spreading like butter on bread. The warm glow from them sent cold shivers down my back. I ran down the field that was dry and rough. It hadn't rained in months, so that made the fire advance even faster. The flames almost licked my tail. My legs were sore and they were giving in, but I just ran faster. It felt like a game of tag, and that fire was the person who was it. Though this was not a game. This was life or death. I had been running for miles, and as I galloped, I saw hundreds of my family members and friends running so they wouldn't be engulfed in the flames. We all hurriedly ran for our lives, scrambling away from those wild but effective tricks that the fire had up its sleeve. I couldn't run forever, though. Sure, I could run away and escape from a cheetah, all because of my amazing speed and the distance I could go, but the fire was catching up. Now I had to take a chance. The flames were all around me, but I turned to my left and ran frantically. My fur almost burned, and yet I still wasn't safe. The fire was about 20 yards long, and I didn't even know how far it had burned. I am not going to make it, I thought. I was just going to be another gazelle that couldn't escape the wild twists and turns of a deadly fire. My friends and family cried for me to come back, but it was too late. I was too far away from them, and I was too close to the fire. Maybe it wasn't too late, though. I suddenly had a burst of energy just when the fire was about to eat me up. I had about 10 yards to bound, and then some if I really wanted to secure my safety. I sprinted fast, zigzagging away from flames and sparks. Bright red caught my eye. The fire was just inches away, and I still had a couple of feet to run. I started to rush the opposite direction of the fire. Then, as I was about to reach my safety, a spark flew out of the fire. The grass started to burn, getting bigger by the second. I was trapped in a sea of fire. The only impulse I got to break out of the flames' clutch was to jump. The fire rose up into the air, and if I didn't jump soon, I was going to be a fire's lunch. I leapt, forcing my legs to use their last bit of energy. I soared through the air. I felt like one of Santa's reindeer, although I was a gazelle. Then I tumbled to the ground. Even though I knew I was safe, I dragged myself a few more yards with caution. My legs gave in, and I collapsed on the ground with exhaustion. Then I rested, but not for too long. I never knew when one of Africa's big cats was stalking me and when they wanted their lunch. After I rested, I set out to find my family and friends. The fire had calmed down when it hit a big pond, but unfortunately it left ashes and ruins. The tall wild grass concealed me from my stalkers, and that made me feel a little bit better. This was my home though, and it was clearly destroyed. There was always some more grass to graze on, so why was I worried? I heard Africa was pretty big, but big enough for lots of homes for hundreds of gazelles? I didn't know. I just kept moving to put this worry out of my head. I walked for miles and miles. How far had my family run? This part still looked burned. I took in the smell of smoke, and my eyes started to water immensely. I must find them soon, I thought, because this is a long way to run. To distract myself, I leaned down and chewed on grass. It was dry, but tasty. As I munched, it started to rain. Any remainder of fire would quickly disappear once the drops touched it. I was soaked, but it felt good to cool off my body after what had happened. The rainy air filled my nose. I shook like a dog, but it didn't help much. I was still as soggy as a sponge. At this point, I didn't care what cats were stalking me. They were all probably in their dens anyway. I just settled down under a large tree and drifted off to sleep. When I woke up, it still poured down rain. It wasn't as bad as before, though. I got up, but immediately fell back down. My legs ached with pain. The running and jumping all flowed back to my senses. One thought was very clear, though. My family was not with me, and I had no idea where they were. This was frightening to me. I hauled myself along the grass until my legs wouldn't collapse when I stood up. I called out for my family and friends. No answer. I trudged on. Then, if I wasn't mistaken, I thought I heard a cry from the north. I looked up. A gazelle-like figure appeared, and it turned out it was indeed a gazelle. It was my sister. She galloped over and ran me back to my family and friends. I explained my story, and as I did, I noticed everybody was accounted for. This is a miracle because usually this doesn't happen. I was relieved it had worked out well. Our horns glistened with drops of rain as we let out a cheer. We had won the chase of our lives.